Hello everybody. It's Stuart with MORFIT, back for another MORFIT Live workout here. Today we've got mini bands and exercise balls. So if you got your exercise ball handy, have that out, and some mini bands. Different resistances are great to have options. So bring them out. If you don't have them, check out whitelineathletics.com. We still have mini bands, we still have exercise balls available there. It's freezing in here today. We've turned down our heat to try and keep the heating down as we get through this shutdown here. All right, let me get focused here on what we're doing today. So we're gonna have a series of rounds. Each round is going to start with 1 minute of cardio. The cardio is going to be 20 seconds of skipping. So if you have a rope, by all means grab a rope. 20 seconds of jumping jacks, and then 20 seconds of jump squats. So it'll be fairly quick transitions. It's just 1 minute of cardio, and then we're going to go into our exercises. We're going to have two 30-second exercises. Sometimes it'll be two different exercises. Sometimes it'll be a left side followed by the right side. That'll be with the mini band. And then we're gonna have a 45-second exercise with the exercise ball. And then we'll have two more 30-second mini bands, one more 45-second exercise ball, and then we go back to the cardio. We'll repeat all those exercises a second time, and then we move to the next block of exercises. Hope that makes sense. I realize now that I didn't actually grab my skipping rope. Oh, here it is. So if you have a skipping rope, great. If you don't have a skipping rope, you can just use the air and just pretend you're skipping, or do mountain climbers or squats or any other exercise that will keep the blood flow going. All right. Whew. I don't think I need to really show any exercises ahead of time. They're all fairly easy for me to explain right when we get into them. So let's just do a little bit of a warm-up here together. Just a little bit of a mobility work before we get into the cardio. So let's just start with some bodyweight squats. Squatting down, knees out, chest up. Whew. It is frigid. Still waiting for some consistent spring weather to come through. Gotta be around the corner. All right, we're gonna pull the left knee up to the chest on the squat, step back down, squat, and then right knee up to the chest. Two more of those per side. Last one here on the right side. Okay, this time we're gonna grab the knee, pull it up to the chest, and hold. Do some ankle circles. Work on the balance. From here, we're going to grab that left ankle, pull the leg back to a quad stretch. You can either hold here or hinge forward at the hips to increase the stretch. Okay, place that foot down to the floor, another squat. And now right knee pulled up to the chest. Ankle circles. All right, grab the ankle, pull the leg back, quad stretch on the right leg. Optional hinge here if you want to do it. Hinge forward, you don't have to. And back up into a squat again. We're gonna stay down in the squat this time. Get your elbows inside your knees. Hands together, prayer position. We're gonna slide one hand up to the ceiling. I like doing these. We'll do these every few workouts for sure. Rotate to the side. Great way to work on some spine mobility and hip mobility and ankle mobility and even some shoulder mobility all at the same time. Last one here on the second side. Place the hands on the floor, extend the knees. Going into a downward dog position. Walk the heels out or just hold. Try and keep the knees as straight as possible. The spine as straight as possible. The heels as close to the floor as you can. Place the knees to the floor. Get it nice and tall. Hands across the chest. We're going to lean back here, quad raise. Coming back up. We're going to go through 3 here. One more. So just a view from the side on those. You might not see what I'm actually doing there. The hips stay forward. I'm leaning back with the entire body. So I'm not leaning with my butt out on down one. Okay, hands back to the floor. Kick back up to downward dog. And back to the squat. From here, we're going to go to crab extensions. I'll show these from the side. So hands are going to go back behind you. If your shoulders don't like this, just lie on your back on the floor. Drive the hips up into the air. Back down. And back. Back down. And up. One more. Okay, push yourself back forward to the squat. This time we're going to go knees forward to the floor. Push your toes out behind you. And now we're going to sit back to the ankles and lean back here. Into a sesa position. From here you can squeeze your glutes to push your hips forward. But keep the abs engaged. We don't want to drive the belly up. Keep the belly in. We're driving the hips up. And that should put a nice stretch through your quadriceps. If you can't get down to the elbows, then just go as far down as you're comfortable going. And if you can lie all the way down without putting pressure in the low back, then go for it. I like the control I have from my elbows better, so I'm going to stay up on my elbows. All right. Awesome. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of upper body hand work, so we're not going to do too much with wrist mobility today. We're going to call that our warm-up. So, just a reminder here for the cardio. It's 1 minute. We got 20 seconds of skipping. Any type of skipping is up to you. And then we have 20 seconds of jumping jacks, and then 20 seconds of jump squats. That'll be 1 minute of work. And then I'll go into the exercises from there. We have 10-second transitions between our exercises. I will tell you, once we're done the cardio, you'll want to get a fairly light mini band, a fairly light one, and it's going to go at our wrists. Okay, so let's get timer started. Starting with skipping. 2, 1, and here we go. If you don't got a rope, just pretend you do, or do some other form of cardiovascular work. I will have to just tell you when it's 20 seconds and when we're switching out to jumping jacks. 3, 2, 1. If you just want to skip for the whole minute, go for it. Just throwing in a little bit of variety here. So in future rounds, you might find you push yourself a little bit more because it's only 20 seconds on any given movement instead of a full minute. We're going to be going to jump squats here in 2, 1, and jump squat. Squat down and up. Notice that the arms are going back when I go down, and then using the momentum of the arms to help pull me up into the air. I'm going to land nice and soft with my hips back and my knees out. Chest is always tall. All right, grab yourself a mini band. Fairly light one. We're going to start with a zombie ladder. So bands at the wrist. One hand stacked over the other. I'm going to push around all the way up until we're overhead. I'm going to kneel down just so you can see it in the camera, but you can stay standing if you want. When you get overhead, pulling back, down the ladder here. So I'm making these big semicircles to keep tension on the band at all times. If your band's too light and your arms are like way apart, try maybe a heavier band if you can. That's 30. The second one is going to be external rotation. So band still at the wrist, 90 degrees at the elbows, and we're going to just press out, keeping the elbows locked in at the side. You can either do this as an isometric hold, just stay here for the full 30, or you can do repetitions, coming in and out. If you find the band sliding around the arms, just hold on to it in your hands, and you can do the same exercise and prevent that sliding around in the band. In 4 seconds, we gotta go get our exercise ball. We're gonna be on the floor on our back. All right, 45 seconds, we're gonna do hamstring curls. So on the back, both feet up on top of the ball, hips in the air, curl the ball in, and curl the ball back out. I'm gonna go over a couple variations in a second. Toes should be pointing straight up. Try not to let them turn out to the side. And the knees out to the side. Watch that the hips don't start dragging or sagging down low. You want to keep the hips up the entire time. Arms can be in the air to challenge your balance more and force your legs to do the work. If you find that really challenging, just keep your arms on the floor. That'll help stabilize. And you can even use the arms to help push your body up, taking some of the work away from the hamstrings. Next set, I'll go into a couple variations. All right, we need to get the band around the ankles. I didn't really prepare you for this transition, I apologize. So, I'll show from the back. All fours, band is around the ankles. We're gonna kick out into what's called a fire hydrant position, and then back in. We're just going to do this one side for the full 30. I'll show from the side here. Notice the knee stays in the same alignment as when it's at the start. So I'm not kicking back or bringing it forward. Keep going on the same leg here. We'll eat up the rest time because we kind of missed the start here. All right, now switch legs. So now I'm going to plant my left knee to the floor and fire hydrant out on the right side. Really try to keep those 90-degree angles at the knee as best you can. When we hear the bell, we're going to get our exercise ball again and lie down on our backs with the ball on top of us. That's it. Okay, band away, grab your exercise ball. On your back, the ball is on top of the thighs, elbows on the opposite side. We're going to squeeze the ball together and then relax. Squeeze the elbows towards the knees and vice versa, and relax. We're going to feel the abdominals activating with this exercise, and the harder you squeeze, the more the abs are really going to start to fire. So you can control your intensity by how hard you push into the ball. Try to pay attention that your low back doesn't come off the ground as you're pressing. So keep pulling the low back down towards the floor the entire time that you're squeezing the ball. All right. So that is one cycle through. We have 45 seconds rest. Get some water if you need. We're gonna repeat that whole thing one more time. All the same exercises, that won't change. So now you know what's coming up. The transitions will be a bit smoother. We're starting with 1 minute of cardio. And then we're gonna go to our zombie ladder. External rotation, hamstring curls on the ball, so on and so forth. If you want to get started early, you can. That's up to you. Whew. All right, I'm a little more warmed up. I still feel really cold though. just from the temperature of the room. I think it's about 16 degrees or so, if I'm lucky, maybe 15. So even though I feel the inside of the body is warming up, my toes I think are still white. I can barely move my fingers quickly. Oh, I missed our time there. Jumping jacks, if you're transitioning, if you want to skip the whole time, you go for it. Jumping jacks and then jump squats. Every time we come back to jump squats, I want you to think a little bit higher. You'll have a little bit more blood in the legs. Use that blood to drive it up. Here we go. Arms go back and lift. Drive it up. Soft landings. Good. All right. Mini band around the wrists. Zombie ladder first. On those jump squats, you shouldn't be scaring your dog. You shouldn't be waking up your neighbors below you. You should be nice and quiet. All right, tension on the band. Start those semicircles, stacking the arms. Up and back down. Always keeping tension on the band. We don't want it to get slack at any point in the movement. Good. External rotations. 90 degrees at the elbows. Drive the band out. Here we go. I'm going to go for just an isometric hold this time, which will be harder because we're using fairly small stabilizer muscles here in the rotator cuff. So they fatigue fairly quick when they're told to work constantly. They're used to firing and relaxing, firing and relaxing. So just holding them in this isometric position, they get tired really fast. 4, 3, 2, time. On our back, we got hamstring curls on the ball. We'll go through a couple variations here. Sorry if I'm not in frame. All right, feet up on top of the ball. This time we're going to drive the hips up as we roll the ball in and then lower everything out together. So before we have the hips stationary or fixed in place like this time we're going to move the hips up as we drive the ball in. This will require more work, especially at the hamstring, but we're also moving more body weight against gravity, which makes the exercise harder. If you want to do these single leg, if you're strong enough for single leg, you can. We did those last week in a workout. All right, come on down. We got to go to band at the ankles or at the knees for the fire hydrants. Woo, 10 seconds is not a long time for that transition. All right, 90 degree angle at the knees and the hips. Try to keep the shoulders square. And even though we're kicking a leg up, you want to keep the hips fairly square as well, or the pelvis. So try not to rotate all the way up there. All right. And then switching up to the other side. Other leg for the fire hydrant. Here we go. After this, we need to get our exercise ball for those ball squeezes on our back. Should be feeling this right in the side of the hip here and your glute medius. Good. All right, exercise ball. Oh, mine ran away. On your back, ball on top of the belly, knees on one side, elbows on the other side, and start squeezing. If you're a little bit shorter or you have like a really big ball, you may have to have the whole, like the entire arm outstretched just to reach the ball. That's fine. You can do that as well. I keep losing my mic. I think the ball is getting in the way of that signal, so here we go. All right, build up your pressure. Another good exercise with these ones is keeping tension on the ball and drop the opposite arm and leg, so a dead bug motion with the ball squeeze. We do have a dead bug coming up in the second half of the workout, so don't worry if you didn't get to those here. All right, nice work everybody. That is 2 sets of the first half of the workout. So we're moving on to the second half. The cardio is going to stay the same, still 1 minute of the same exercises. All that changes is the mini band and exercise ball exercises. We're going to be starting with the mini band at the ankles or knees and doing side touches. We did those last week. And then the ball exercise is going to be an ab rollout. So the ball just on the floor. All right, hit your rope. Here we go, 20 seconds of skipping. Halfway. Woo. And 20. Jumping jacks. More seconds. When we get to the jump squats, if you want to work on like a powerful vertical jump instead of continuous jump squats, then you can do what I'm about to show here. So set up for one really high jump and then land and stand, reset, go again. So you won't get as fatigued, which means each jump you do, you'll be able to focus on more height. Good. All right. Band at the ankles for harder, band at the knees for easier. And we can do a fairly heavy band on these. So I'm going to go ankles. We're going to shift our weight over to our left leg. Our right leg is going to reach out and touch the floor, and then touch the floor right beside the left foot. So these are called lateral touches. What I'm not doing is putting my weight on my right foot at any point. My weight stays on my left leg the entire time. The reason I want to actually touch the floor lightly though is I want to avoid this, where I'm standing straight up and kicking out. By touching the floor, I'm forced to hold a little bit of a squat, which challenges my quad on the left side more. Let's go to the other leg. So drop down into a semi-squat, shift the weight onto the right leg, reach out with the left, and back in. Just like touches. When I kick my left leg out, I don't want to turn the foot out facing the sidewall, because then it's going to let my hip flexors come into play. I want to focus on my glutes. So when I reach out, I'm going to make sure my toes are still pointing forward, even when I'm in the outreached or outstretched position. 3, 2, and 1. Band off, grab your exercise ball. Ball's on the floor. We're going to be kneeling beside it or behind it, doing an ab rollout. So we're going to roll the ball forward, hands on top of the ball. The whole body comes forward, and then you're going to roll back up. I'm only bending at the knees here. I'm trying not to pull back or bend my hips at any point. Okay, so the hips stay neutral by keeping the glutes and the abs squeezed. Rolling out and then pushing down into the ball. So I'm pushing in with my arms, my triceps, and my lats to pull myself back up. The further out the ball is to start the rollout, the more challenging it's going to be. Okay. Hopefully you guys got that one figured out. That's a bit more of a trickier one. On your back, mini band at your wrists. We're going to a dead bug. All right, so we're gonna drop the opposite arm, opposite leg. Come back up, and then switch sides. So it's another abdominal exercise. But we're getting a little bit more shoulder work by adding in the mini band. After this 30 seconds, we're gonna move the mini band to the feet and keep going. All right, mini band at the feet now, exact same exercise. Here we go. When you kick your right leg down, you're gonna feel your left hip flexor starting to fire and your tibialis anterior or shin muscle on the leg that's up in the air. If you have two mini bands at home, when we come back to this, feel free to have one on your feet, one on your wrist, and just do this exercise for a full minute instead of transitioning the band back and forth. All right. We gotta go into back extensions. So, if you have a wall or a couch, place your feet against the wall or a couch, and then you're going to lean over top of the ball. As much of your torso in front of the ball as possible. Roll down, come back up, activating through the back, and repeat. So the more my torso is on the ball like this, the easier it is, which is I'm trying to get the ball as close down to my quads or thighs as possible. But then the more body weight I have in front of the ball, the more I feel I'm resisting falling over, which is why we need to have our feet anchored in this exercise. If you can't make that happen on the next set, then I just want you to go into a Superman and just do Supermans instead of the back extensions with the ball. So if you don't have a couch or table or wall or something, then just go on the floor and don't worry about the ball setup. All right. We have all of those exercises to repeat another time. We're starting with our cardio again. So this will be our last time with the cardio. And then we're going straight into those mini band lateral touches before the ab roll out. All right. I'm going to try to whip out some double unders here for the skipping. It's last round for cardio. So we get a little bit more work in. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Good, jumping jacks. Then we'll go into those powerful, explosive jump squats. Three, 2, and 1. All right, how high can you get? Soft landings, don't forget that soft landing. And don't be afraid to use those arms. Throw them back there. All right, lateral touches. Mini band around the ankles or knees. If you found the first set wasn't very challenging, then slide the band down to the ankles. Or throw another band on. You can put 2 bands on to make it harder. Here we go, weight on the left leg. Lateral touch, and back in. Whew, those jumps got me. Breathing heavy for the first time this workout. If you were hoping for something a little bit more higher intense for the workout, come back at 5 p.m. We'll work you at 5 p.m. today. All right, good. Switch up to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right leg. Semi-squat position and touches. We have the ab roll out after this on the ball. Ten seconds here. You guys feel the glutes working? They should be starting to light up pretty good for you. Good. All right, get rid of that ab rollout. Kneeling position. If you're a superstar, you can try these from the feet. I'm not even going to try and demonstrate. I will not successfully pull that off for you. You can give it a try if you want. Or maybe one knee and one foot. That'd be one way to start progressing towards going off of your toes. The main focus here is pulling or pushing down with the arms and not hiking the hips back. After this, we're on our back with the mini band at the wrists for the dead bugs. Good. Or you can do the one at the wrist and one at the feet. Go right away for both. That's up to you. Here we go. Opposite arm and leg go down. And then alternate. Keep the low back pulled to the floor. It's going to help activate the abs. If you really want to get the abs fired up, then add a crunch to the movement. So pulling the upper back or shoulders off the ground, but keep looking at the ceiling. All right, transition your band placement around the feet, not the ankles. The ankles won't work, they'll slide. Make sure you check your mini bands for tears before your workout. About 25 minutes too late to tell you that, but back extensions on the ball or after this. All right, grab your ball. Find your couch, find your wall. Get the ball as close to your hips or thighs as possible. And then you're into that I'm flying jack position from the Titanic. Arms down by the side makes the movement easy. The more they get towards the shoulders or overhead is a way to progress the intensity of the exercise. You can also hold on to a weight or add some mini bands. Try not to come till your torso is like straight up and down, because then you're not working against gravity anymore. So at the top, you should still be angled forward to make sure that the back stays working. All right. That's it, guys. Come on down. Okay, nice work. It's a good solid 30-minute workout. Mission accomplished for me. I feel my stabilizer muscles and my shoulders and my hips have been worked, but my toes are still frozen, and that probably won't even change even when we pick up the intensity later on today. It's just how it's going to be for a while. Let's get a few stretches in, guys, before we call it a day. So I want you to lie down on your backs. We're going to go into a glute max and then a glute medius stretch. So try to target a couple of the glute muscles back there. Cross your right leg over your left thigh. Pull the left knee towards the chest by grabbing onto the left shin or hamstring. You can even hold the right leg if that's more accessible to you. Or just pulling straight up towards the chest. Watch that your pelvis doesn't roll off the floor. Think of drawing your tailbone into the floor the whole time. That should give you a better stretch or a deeper stretch for the glute max. Do another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're going to place our left foot on the floor. Keeping the right leg crossed over, we're just going to drop the whole lower body to the left until your right foot is now flat on the floor. I'm going to pull my right hip down towards the ground and make sure that the right knee is pointing up to the ceiling. This should put a stretch into a little bit more to the outside of your hip instead of like right back in your glute max. And this should target more the muscles on the outside of the hip. So your glute medius, minimus, TFL, and other fun-loving muscles like that. If you don't feel it, just kind of move things around, and maybe most importantly, really pull that right side right down to the floor. You have to pull this hip down. If it's up here, you're not going to feel nothing. All right, release there. Let's go to the other side. Left leg crossed over the right thigh, and we're going to pull both legs, however you need to, up towards the chest. Pulling the tailbone down to the floor as you pull. Deep breaths out. And you can even play with the angles on this stretch. The body likes to find positions where the stretch is not very intense because the body does not like discomfort or to be challenged. So we need to impose that challenge or that stress onto it. And sometimes that means finding that position yourself and not just trusting that your body is going to naturally fall into the position of greatest stretch. All right, right foot's now on the floor, left leg remains crossed over. We're now going to drop our legs over to the right until the left foot touches the ground. Pull the left hip down towards the floor. It won't actually make contact. It will be up, but we want to encourage it to get back down there. And that should help pull the stretch into the left leg. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to stay in this position. We're just going to focus on the posterior chain of the lower body for stretches after this workout. I'm going to show sideways. You can see what's going on. Now, I don't have very flexible hamstrings, so you may look different than how I look. Hopefully you do. I've got my right leg flat on the floor. I'm going to grab the calf of my left leg. If you can't reach that, grab a shirt, grab a belt, grab a napkin. Napkin probably won't hold. Something you can put under your foot and you can pull with that object. I'm just going to use my hands. So I'm going to pull the left knee towards my chest. Notice how the knee is bent to begin. Once I pull the knee as close as I can to the chest, I'm going to now contract my quad of the left leg and start to straighten the knee out. And that will put a stretch into the hamstring of your left leg. Because my hamstrings are not the most flexible, I still have quite a bend in my knee here, but you may find your knee is much straighter or even fully straight. If you have your leg back here, you're very flexible. The knee angle is less important than getting the quality of the stretch. So hopefully you feel a stretch in the hamstring at the back of the leg. And then over time, we can worry about trying to get the knee straighter as you improve flexibility. All right, release there. We're going to go to the other side. So right knee up to the chest, grab a hold of the right calf, and pull the leg and contract the quadricep on the right leg to straighten the knee out. Try to keep the left leg flat. Try not to let it come up here. That will allow your pelvis to roll and give you a false sense of flexibility, or you might just not get quite as good of a stretch.
Final 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release that stretch. All right, my friends, we're gonna call that the workout for the day. We're right around 45 minutes. Thanks for taking part. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we have a body weight workout. Is that right? No, that's not right. What are we today, Wednesday? If it's Wednesday, I've got my days all mixed up here. It's either body weight or kettlebell flow. I'm now starting to think that this was supposed to be a body weight workout. I'm a little mixed up with the whole Easter weekend thing and just a bunch going on. So it's going to be a workout at 5 p.m. and it will be more intense than this one was. So if that's what you're after, come back at 5. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you, well, probably won't see you around anytime soon, but hopefully in the near future, we'll see you again. Okay, bye-bye.